Right now, we are going to talk some NHL hockey. We'll bring in our buddy from ProHockeyTalk.NBCSports.com. You can follow him on Twitter.com/Joe Yerdon, PHT. It is Joe Yerdon. How you doing, Joe?
Doing great, Matthew. Good to be back on.
Joe, we were just talking in the previous segment about our theory as to sort of insights on who you could maybe take to go far in the postseason, other than, you know, the Chicagos and the Pittsburghs of the world. And we were looking at past history, and our intern here, Stefano Michello, helping us out and looking at some of the stats. Last year, the Kings, second least amount of goals scored in the NHL in the regular season. But what was it, Stefano?
Second in goals against.
Right. Okay, second in goals against. One of the top power play PK teams, and face-offs as well. And so we started to look at a trend, Joe, which was 3 items: really good save percentage for a goalie, really good PK, and really good face-off percentage. And we think that this applies over the last couple of years in terms of who won the Stanley Cup, in terms of the Kings, in terms of the Bruins previous to that. And so if you project and you look forward at the teams that have all 3 of those things, it's quite interesting what you'll find. The number 1 penalty kill team in the NHL right now is Ottawa, then it's Boston. The face-off team in the league is Boston. And then you look at the save percentages as well, and certainly the Bruins are up there too. But a team that keeps popping up for me, Joe, and I really want to get your take on this because it's hard to ignore these numbers. Face-off percentage in the NHL right now, number 2 face-off team is the San Jose Sharks. Penalty kill right now in the NHL, the number 5 team, the San Jose Sharks. Save percentage, the number 1 goaltender right now, Joe, in the NHL, save percentage, Antti Niemi. Your thoughts on the Sharks?
I'm jumping on the Sharks bandwagon, pretty much. The way they've been playing the last couple of weeks has been really impressive. And they give me a little bit of that kind of Kings feel from last year where, you know, Niemi's very under the radar. You know, they've got a host of star players, star players who may or may not have performed very well in the past. And, you know, you look at what the Kings did last year, and, you know, they had the star players. You know, Dustin Brown was kind of emerging. You know, Mike Richards and Jeff Carter, everybody from Philadelphia. And John Quick wasn't really on too many people's radar. I mean, he won a bunch of games the last 2 seasons with LA, but, you know, nobody expected him to, go from winning no playoff series to winning 4 in a row. And I got a funny feeling about San Jose if they, and look, we've all been burned by the Sharks in the past. We've all picked them before. We've all done that dance with them before. There's something a little different about this team, though. Like guys like Logan Couture are stepping up and being the huge player. It's, he's taking the pressure off of guys like Patty Marleau and Joe Thornton. Like, you don't really hear about those guys now. It's all about Niemi and Couture and Joe Pavelski. You hear about these guys constantly night after night. And they just keep getting the job done, and they just keep winning. And you look at the standings, there they are sitting, fourth?
Yeah, so here's the problem, though, Joe, is we were talking about it on air. There's 3 possible opponents for the San Jose Sharks right now based on where they are in the standings. Right now, the playoffs start today. They play LA, which I don't like for them as a matchup. They could also play St. Louis in the 4-5 spot still mathematically, or they could drop down 6th and possibly play Vancouver, which I like as a matchup as well. Are you on that same wavelength? Or is there a team amongst those 3 opponents that you don't like them matching up against, or that you do?
I think with the way LA is playing right now, I would hate to see either of those teams have to get bumped out of the first round. LA or San Jose, I think, is very capable of giving Chicago the kind of fight that they need to get out of the West. I think either one of those teams could really bring it. St. Louis bothers me because it's the same old Ken Hitchcock thing. Bottle everything up, limit things to be a 1-goal game.
And the goalies just aren't doing enough.
Yeah, and that's exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing with St. Louis. That just that irks me if I end up drawing them as the first round opponent, where it's like, oh man, every game is going to be a war. Every game's going to be kind of nasty, and there's not going to be a lot of chances. At Vancouver, listen, their defense kind of stinks. And, Corey Schneider's very capable. But I think when it comes down to Vancouver, I think the pressure for them in that market gets to be a little bit too sky high for them. It's kind of like dealing with, it's kind of like Montreal out west, really, because once they're in the playoffs, the magnitude of pressure just gets amped up to a crazy degree. and everybody freaks out about Vancouver. And as soon as they lose a game, it's like, oh crap, here we go. And then, then it's just, everything gets magnified and it turns into a nightmare. We've seen it happen every season in Vancouver. So I think if San Jose is going to get somebody, they want to deal with somebody. I mean, you don't want to ask for any team in the playoffs because every team in the playoffs is going to be good. But I think if they match up better with any team, I think it's Vancouver.
Joe Yerdon from NBC Sports Pro Hockey Talk blog chatting with us here on the program. I mentioned Ottawa, Joe, and number 2 right now in PK, as you mentioned. Their only weakness, really, of the three threads there, PK, faceoffs, and having a goalie in the top 5 in save percentage, which Anderson clearly is with Ottawa, is the faceoffs. No Jason Spezza. That's a big reason, I think, why they're only 18th right now in the NHL. There really is no progress to report, I guess, on Jason Spezza and when he'll come back. But Erik Karlsson's a guy that may actually play even in the first round of the postseason if he's already practicing with the team. And if you know that they're already in the top 3 in the NHL in terms of goals against and well coached, do you think they can pull off a first round upset?
I absolutely think Ottawa can. Anderson's a really good goalie. I mean, he's one of those under the radar guys again. And listen, they pushed the Rangers to 7 games last year and very nearly came away with that upset in the first round. I think they're a team that is very capable of winning a round or maybe even 2 in the playoffs. I mean, it depends on who they would end up drawing in the next round, but I think if Ottawa was able to get in, and listen, they've been kind of a little bit rough lately, but I think if they're able to get in, I think they're going to give whoever they end up facing a real battle in the first round, whether it's a Boston or a Montreal or even a Pittsburgh. I think that creates a bad situation, especially if Karlsson comes back, because that guy. Listen, I know not a lot of people respect his defense, but his offensive game is by far the best of any defenseman out there, and he really changes the outlook of that team. And I really do like what Ottawa's got. Listen, they're going to be my savvy chic, upset in the first round pick, but I really think if Ottawa gets Karlsson back, and listen, Eugene Melnyk seems to think that Jason Spezza can't be written off completely yet, so. Hey, who knows? If they're able to get him back in the playoffs, you're looking at a fully loaded Ottawa team that was already winning games and playing great as it was. So, yeah, I think that's a huge difference maker for them. So, I would keep an eye out for Ottawa but listen, they got to make it through this last week. They got to win a couple of games and try to seal up their spot.
Joe, what about the Boston Bruins? We've mentioned them a couple of times here. They're going to end their schedule 6 games in 8 nights because of what happened, obviously, in Massachusetts. But you look at that team, and as we mentioned, they're up there in those categories that count come playoff time, and one of them is in goal. And Tuukka Rask is not a guy who's been counted on in the postseason as of yet, not because he's not capable, but because they had a fellow by the name of Tim Thomas in front of him. 929 save percentages, Tuukka Rask. Do you get that kind of feeling about Boston this year, that they're looking like 2011, that they are a legitimate shot this year?
I think for Boston, I think this last week is going to be about surviving, trying to get through this last week without any injuries, any controversies, any nonsense. I think Boston is a team that's eager to get to the playoffs. They got their spot booked. It's just a question of whether or not they're going to be number 2 in the East, or if they're going to end up being number 4 or even 5. I don't know if Toronto or even the Islanders could catch them, but they're either going to be 2 or 4, and listen, they're going to have to deal with somebody tough in the first round, but they can get through this week and make it through all that stuff. And I think Boston is one of those teams that once the playoffs get started, I think they're going to be a really tough team. Their big weakness is their power play. They can't score with the man advantage. And, listen, Jaromir Jagr's played great since he's gotten there, so that's helped. But, I do like Boston. I do think they're still a favorite in the East. I think they're another team that can really challenge Pittsburgh. But, there's a lot of drama surrounding them right now as far as getting guys together, getting it figured out. But I think for them, they're just kind of itching for the playoffs right now, and they just want to put all this dramatic stuff aside and just get there.
Joe Yerdon, prohockeytalk.nbcsports.com, a great blog. You guys got to follow it out there if you're looking for some hockey news from around the NHL. You can also follow him on twitter.com/Joe Yerdon, PHT. He actually tweets as well while he's sleeping, so make sure that you don't miss one of them. Thanks so much, Joe. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Matthew. Good talking.